the Not So Secret Society at the Edinburgh Festival Fringe in association with BroadwayBowie.com. I'm Rufus and this is Ben.
I'm Ben.
That's Ben, and we're going to chat about all things cabaret and variety as ever. So, Ben, in the last episode we spoke to Ben Daly, who's a hypnotist, and he scared you because you were worried he would read your mind.
I still don't know if he did or not.
Yeah, he may have done.
You can't tell.
It's a little frightening.
It is a little frightening.
But mentalists and hypnotists are a big thing at the Fringe.
Mentalists? What, like?
Not like, I'm a mentalist.
Oh,
No.
like not mental cases?
No,
Right, okay.
like people who read minds.
Oh,
and,
right,
and
yes, okay.
stuff like
Mentalist.
that.
I know what you mean.
Are very popular at the Fringe because they're an absolute staple of cabaret.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got acts like Doug Segal.
Yeah, I saw Doug Segal. I know him.
Who's
yeah.
fantastic.
He's great, yeah. I saw him in Glasgow, actually.
Yes.
Yeah, not even part of the Fringe.
You enjoy his show?
I did enjoy his show. It was very good.
He's very talented, isn't
Yeah,
he?
he's a good guy. Funny as well.
Very funny, very funny. And just looks like the sort of guy you want to hug.
Yeah.
He's like a big bear of a
Big
man.
guy.
Yeah, Doug has a show on, I believe, at the Voodoo Rooms, although that could be wrong, so do check that out. Please Google Doug Segal at the Edinburgh Festival Fringe. But yeah, Doug's a fantastic performer and well worth seeing. And later on, we're going to be interviewing Colin Cloud.
Yes.
Who some people are calling the next Darren Brown.
There you go.
Which must be making Darren Brown nervous, because surely he's the current Darren Brown.
Well, it depends. To be the next one, does he have to kill him?
I don't know, is it like Highlander, do you think?
Is it like some kind of Shakespearean royal tragedy or something?
Perhaps there can be only one.
There can be only one.
Yeah. Maybe it's like Scanners. Perhaps just one day Darren Brown will be on a stage and his head will just explode.
Yeah.
And then Colin Cloud will like experience the quickening and he will be the greatest.
Do you know what the thing is though? Darren Brown would love that.
He would definitely sell some DVDs.
Definitely.
But what do you think of mentalism and hypnotism and stuff like that, Ben?
I like it. I think it's very interesting. And I think it's also a very good way of getting an audience involved in a show without it being stupid.
Without it being stupid?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, you're not getting people up to humiliate them, but there's something interesting about it. You know, it's, yeah, I like it. I'm all for it. And there's not been enough of it at the Fringe.
Really?
I don't think.
I think it's definitely building. See, one of the things I really like about it is that sense now that it used to be that mentalist acts, mind reading acts and such, it was very much, I have mystical powers and I can read your mind and I have psychic abilities and I can tell what you're thinking. Whereas now we're much more skeptical as a society, I think. And the performers now are, I'm using skills in reading body language and marketing, and you know, like Darren Brown's whole thing is I have no powers.
Yeah, he explains to you what he's doing.
I just use science and manipulation and statistics and various things like that. Yet people still believe that he has powers.
Yeah.
And Colin Cloud, who we'll be speaking to shortly, very much markets himself as a forensic mind reader, that he uses the science of forensics. He studies you. That his hero is Sherlock Holmes, and it's all about that element of studying the way people move, the way they carry themselves, and that's what fascinates me. Is the way people are using science now rather than pretending that it's an ability. I think people immediately feel it's a little hokey for you to go, "Ooh, I will read your mind." You know, we'll leave that to people like Derek Acora.
Yeah.
You know, to just be terrible. And then you get wonderful acts like Doug and Colin and lots of the other acts out there, like, of course, the wonderful Ben Daly, who we spoke to in the last episode.
Yeah.
So would you like to have your mind read?
I'd like to give it a shot, yeah. I don't think it's something I've ever done. So it'd be interesting to see. Because, you know, you can watch these shows and it's amazing. You watch it, well, that's great. But you're only going to really, really believe it when it's happening to you. So you know what I mean? You want to experience it for yourself, so you can 100% categorically say, "Wow, he really did read my mind." So
that wasn't a trick.
Yeah, that wasn't a trick. I had nothing to do with that.
Yes.
And he still managed to do it. Yeah. So I'm well into it. Sounds really good.
It's incredible the way that people are open to going to see acts like Mentalist, because you know, you sit in and Colin Cloud's show. I last saw Colin perform in Adelaide with the show he had there at the Adelaide Fringe. And it was amazing the way the audience reacted. So many people were genuinely afraid of what he was doing. They were intimidated and scared by the fact that he seemed to have this insight. And yet people still went up, people still volunteered, people still wanted to go there. It was almost like they viewed him the way you view a roller coaster. Like, this is scary, but I want to do it. I think perhaps, I mean, of course there's a huge amount of trust. People aren't going to, he's not looking to humiliate anyone.
No.
He's not going to make anyone look daft. He's not going to tell people your deepest, darkest secrets. But he certainly will be able to tell what you had for dinner last night, and, you know, something embarrassing about you from when you were 12.
Yeah.
And that's kind of strange. That's really weird. What's it like to go through life like that? When you can tell that sort of information about people when you meet them?
It must be like, you know, at the end of the Matrix, when he sees the Matrix as it is and it's all just numbers. He must walk about looking at people and they're all just like
Embarrassing stories.
Yeah, they're just like you know, stats and what they're giving off and body language, and it must be a unique way to look at people. But in saying that, it's his job. Does he walk about 24/7 doing it? Probably not. Imagine he takes some time off.
Can he
just
stop? Is it all body language?
We should ask him that.
We should ask him that. We'll ask him that.
We'll ask him that.
Well, should we do that now then?
Yes, we should ask him that
we should
right
ask
now.
him that right now. So here is our interview with the incredible Colin Cloud. So here we are in the Loft Bar at the Gilded Balloon, just next to the lovely roof terrace, with Colin Cloud.
Hello.
Hi Colin, how are you?
I am very well. How are you guys?
I'm good.
I'm good, can't complain.
Yeah, obviously I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Positive.
Yeah.
I can tell you really,
No,
I'm a bit of a headache.
Ben, he knew you were going to say it.
Yeah,
Right.
Ben found it eventually. It's cool.
I got you.
It's all right. It's all right. These jokes are they're layered. You know, play to the masses. People get it at different times. It's a ricochet of comedy. What can I say?
Yeah, this is why Ben just laughs randomly in the middle of the street weeks later.
Yes. But it's endearing. People like it.
Yeah.
Pat me in the head and
When
stuff,
you
so it's okay.
when you see me live on Terrible on the drive home, I am hilarious. Yeah.
So how's the Fringe 2016 shaping up for you, Colin?
Do you know, it's challenging because it's my third year here doing a solo show, and last year's show was year one was amazing. It sold out after week one, and then the challenge was how do you write a show that's better than year one, and then you eventually try and get there, and it finds its feet. And by the time I brought that show here, it was already a show, so it was up and running. And this year, I am pretty much starting from scratch, and it's been a new show from day one. So it's been a wonderful challenge of trying to up my game yet again and do something more impressive.
Yeah, it's incredible because it's for you though. It's not been that long since your last Fringe because you were in Adelaide.
Oh yeah. Well, this is the funny thing. When you saw the show in Adelaide as well, and that was me starting to try little bits and pieces every night because Adelaide don't know what I've done or not before, so had the luxury of just sampling bits and pieces. But I mean, the show you saw was very much had a start and end, a theme, and so there wasn't too much I could try, but little plots and ideas I was trying out there. But really, with the stuff that I do, the only way I can actually practice it is to get on stage and do it, and that's what makes it nerve-wracking, but that's why I love it. It's upping my game. If I wasn't doing that, I would be very, very bored.
So, as ever, Ben has done no research whatsoever on what you actually do.
Wow. And his face is full of enthusiasm as well for that fact as well. It's incredible.
He's just hopeless, but he's also slightly terrified because mind readers scare him.
Yeah,
I can see what's going on in there, so I understand why. Yeah, I understand. I get it.
So, as somebody who is a bit wary of mind readers, the type of guy who's worried by folk like Darren Brown, why should he come to your show? What's great about your show?
Well, imagine if Marilyn Monroe did Irish ballet. That's not what I do. But I did see you.
I want to see that.
Yeah, I saw you contemplate it. You actually perked up there. You're not going to be very disappointed. No, I mean, you mentioned Darren. Darren's amazing at what he does, and so that's another wonderful challenge, is to do stuff that he hasn't done and do it a very different way from him. But I've been described as the real-life Sherlock Holmes, which is both wonderful and a massive amount of pressure. But my background is in forensic science. When I studied profiling, I realized people who are very observant are comedians. They observe, and they have this wonderful observational view on life and the way that people do things, and I thought I need to learn how to do that. Read the books and realized you can't learn this from books. You have to go on stage and actually do it, and so I got involved with the Stand Comedy Club in Glasgow at university, died on my ass many times, and then eventually learned how to incorporate the weird psychological trick things with the observational stuff that I was inventing with the comedy, and have now been touring the world with it for the past how old am I now? Pretty old. So like for the past 10 years, I've been doing it like semi-professionally. Then 3 years ago, it became my living of touring and filming and doing shows all over the place. So that doesn't really tell you why you should come and see it. Just that you should. Yeah.
We don't realise though is that he's now implanted in you a suggestion that you must go and see the show.
Yeah. Buy a ticket. It's very subliminal what I do. It's again, it will mean nothing now, but in an hour's time, you'll find yourself in the queue buying a ticket, thinking, "Yeah, who knew? There we go."
No, but that does sell the show really, because it shows that you've worked very hard on your craft for over a long time and perfected it to the point where you're at a standard that's going to be cracking show. So
I hope so. I mean, I'm my own worst critic, and you know, the first week of ever doing a new show, like I said, the last few years it's already been a show by the time I've gotten here, and I've had to take bits out. Whereas this year, the first few nights was a case of going, right, what's not quite right yet. So that normal pressure I would get before the Fringe, this year I had it at the Fringe. So it was just because I've been, you know, luckily so busy recently with other work and stuff as well, but a lot of rewrites the first few nights and watching the footage back and thinking, right, how can that be better, what can be improved here, and really making it a show, you know, looking at the theatre now. And I suppose what I've tried to do this time, I always listen to the audience on the way out, and in the past they've always told me, you know, what they were expecting, what bits they loved, and you know, what was worrying them before they came, and I've always then used that as inspiration for the next show. And
you've put in what was worrying them before.
Yeah, pretty much. You have no idea. I mean, you saw it in Australia when I started doing all the naughty memory stuff, right? Which is off the back of Holly Willoughby wanting me to reveal a naughty memory, and I thought, well, I'll play with that and then embellish it, and that's what this show, the sort of backbone that we build to is. But everyone always left the show talking about me and my skills and how amazing it is that you can do this. So with this show, what I wanted was people more thinking about themselves and the way that they view themselves and the way they interact with people and the world around them and what they get out of life. So it's more philosophical than anything else I've ever done, and it's, you know, hopefully more. The last show was very theatrical. It's obviously still a theatrical show, but this show, I just wanted people to be thinking about them more than anything else. And instead of just seeing a show full of tricks for the sake of seeing tricks, if you want to call them that, or demonstrations, whatever, I don't really care. But as long as you enjoy those parts, but really this show is about you as an individual and getting you to think about yourself rather than me. I mean, I suppose you're still going to think, you know, about certain things that I've done, but the backbone to the reason why I'm doing the things is about the people in that room. Mm-hmm. So that for me was a nice, you know, a twist on what I've done already and made it for me again exciting. So yeah.
Well, you have that interesting twist on what you do, because you don't claim that you have psychic abilities.
Yeah, not openly. I don't want to be put in a cage somewhere, or I mean, I basically say it's not psychic. I mean, we know the truth, right? We know I am psychic. No, you know, this is the thing. I mean, I think people that claim to be psychic, if they're, I believe, using the same skills that I'm using, and sometimes not even as well developed as they could be, I mean, they're. I think it's then wrong to lie to people. I'm doing it as entertainment and telling you it's entertainment. That's it. It's no different to going to see a comedian, a play, etc. It's entertainment. But when you're saying you're psychic and encouraging people to make life choices based on what they're saying, you know, I think for me that's a bit dodgy, right? And even sometimes they claim, but yeah, it's entertainment. And if they see it like that, that's one thing. But when people come in to get that advice and change their life based on that advice, then it's for me that's the wrong approach to be using it. And if they are talking to the dead, then in my opinion they're doing it the hard way. So yeah.
And yet, though, so many audiences, you know, they come in and you do speak about how you use different techniques. You use observation, body language,
yep.
The skills that you've learned by studying very, very, very hard. And yet, so many people just convince themselves that you have some sort of supernatural ability.
Some people come in and they want to think it's tricks. Some people come in and think it's stooges. It's not, and I encourage you to come on many nights so you see it's always different people, so that I get more ticket money, basically. It would just be too expensive to fly around the Stooges as well. But some people think I'm psychic. Again, I don't really care what it is, as long as you enjoy the journey, as long as it's entertaining, it's fun, it's insightful, and it leaves you thinking about, in this show, you, then I'm kind of happy, you know? I'm not out to convince anyone of anything one way or the other. It's just meant to be an enjoyable and different experience, and I think for me that's what it's all about.
That's fantastic. So the Fringe, you brought your first show to the Fringe 3 years ago, and it was fantastically successful for a Fringe debut.
Yeah.
You did incredibly well. Word of mouth exploded.
It was crazy,
for
yeah.
your show, and you've come back now. As you see, this year was the first year that you wrote a show for the Fringe.
Yes.
Did you find that it was really different writing a show in mind that it was going to be a Fringe show?
Certainly there are certain models in my head that I use when I'm writing, and things like, number one, what has Darren Brown never done, right? I think is so important because it's, I mean, Darren will admit himself that he basically, we're all standing on the shoulders of giants, okay? But Darren and his team, including people like Andy Nyman and guys, have done an amazing job of taking the classics and making them incredible for modern day. So there's that, what have they done, and avoid it as much as possible. And then it's a case of going, what do people actually want to see? What do people care about? Why will they want to pay, come and see it? Why will they talk about it? And I think always having that something controversial in your show helps as well. So last year it was killing the random member of the audience and having, a doctor come out and confirm that their heart had stopped, and then bring them back to life as well, we should point out. I've now actually gotten away with 86 murders, so I'm, yeah.
And yet you still get a visa.
Yeah, I know. Delighted. Don't tell America. And this year I thought, well, I've killed someone else. It's only fair that I put my own life on the line. So this year was about. I also hate. This is the one thing I do not enjoy about Edinburgh, is that the shows can only be 60 minutes. Really. I also think shows shouldn't be limited to that time. Like when John Lennon writes a song, wrote, for not present tense, unfortunately.
Unless you're speaking to him currently.
Yeah, as we know, I am really. But yeah, I mean, no one said to him it had to be this amount of time, go make it happen. I think if some shows are only 18 and a half minutes, they should be allowed to be 18 and a half minutes. You go in and see that piece and you enjoy it for what it is. It shouldn't be forced to be 60 minutes. Same, if a show's going to be an amazing 90 minutes, don't force it to only be 60, So I've always felt that 60 was never enough for me to get an audience to come in, relax, buy into me, then buy into a concept, then explain the concept, do the concept, close the show. It's always felt like a bit of a rush, and last year I overran every show by like at least 10 minutes, so sorry you had to endure that if you were there and didn't want that extra 10 minutes. But this year I thought, how can I extend the show in an optional way? And I realized, and without paying for the venue for double the time, because I'm really, really cheap. And I thought, well, we could take the audience out onto the streets and finish the show out there in true Fringe style. So the Fringe, that model became the sort of inspiration for that. And my girlfriend, she was a street performer, and I sat down with her and spoke about the psychology of this and how we could make it work. And then I thought, why would people want to come out onto the street for the last part? What makes that part of the process? And then I thought, well, I suppose the theme of this show, the backbone is hide and seek. The idea that in life we're all either hiding information from other people, or we're trying to seek the information other people are hiding, really, right? So then I thought, what's the physical version of that? And it's obviously the real game of hide and seek, but also the idea that people always say, how can you use your skills, not just for entertainment, but in the real world? And it's everything Sherlocky is linked to crime, and there are just some crimes that I think are maybe too upsetting to really deal with in a show. But I thought a missing person is just on the right side, done in the right way. And again, because hide and seek is a game, it made sense that the idea of missing person, hide and seek all tied together, so it could still be playful. And then I thought someone could leave the show and hide, then we go find them. Then I thought, why would people want to follow? And I thought, well, what if finding them was life or death? And I thought, it can't be for them because that's unfair. So then I thought, well, if I get injected with a concoction at the time, some kind of poison, and they leave with the antidote, then I can go hunt them down and find them, and ideally, and when you write this 6 months ago, it's like a great idea. Then it comes to August, and you need to inject yourself on stage every night in different parts of your body, and you end up with needle marks and bruised. It's it's painful, but I am suffering for my art. It's
sounds incredible though, like. Sounds brilliant.
Oh, to watch, not to do.
Yeah, well, of course, no, I don't want to do it, but I really want to see it.
Thank you.
I'd love to see you inject yourself.
Yeah, shooting up on stage in true Scottish style. So train spotting with inspiration, is it? No.
They're on at the Fringe as well. You should sort it some
Absolutely,
sort of
no, of course. So all of that tied together, and the inspiration of Andy Kaufman was a big inspiration. The idea of taking the audience at the end for cookies and cream, I always loved that, and doing something with the audience, and going on the journey at the end to hunt this person down for me is what the show builds to. But the show itself is all about the people in the room, like I said, and them, and then at the end we just make it feel a bit different and try. I realise it's tough, and I maybe other performers think this as well. It's tough to try and better what you've done already. I think the starting point I've learned now always needs to be make it very different to what you've done before, and then make that different thing as good as it possibly can be. So instead of trying to compete against what you've done, make it so different to what you've done. And then obviously with my shows, there's always going to be an element of I'm reading people, so that needs to be in there in some way, influencing people, so then make that different. And and then twists and turns. So it's taking all those things that people expect to see, want to see, need to see if they're coming along. Because if I stand on stage and say I'm Colin Cloud, the Forensic Mind Reader, and for the next 20 minutes I'm going to juggle, it's like, we weren't, it's different, but why? We don't want to see that. So I need to be conscious as well of what the audience expect and deliver on that, whilst at the same time delivering it in a new way that for me artistically is a way that I'm going to enjoy and challenge their thinking as well as mine in writing it.
That's incredible. You've left me with nothing to ask because you've spoken so much about everything that I wanted to know. It's
Mind reader.
It's amazing. It's amazing. I'm stunned and baffled and somewhat confused and slightly aroused.
Oh, that's what that is in your pocket, right? Okay.
It's incredible. So where is the show? Where can people see it? What time is it on at?
So the show is on at 9 p.m. every night except for Saturday the 15th. I've taken a Saturday night off because it's the middle of the run, and
15th, Saturday.
yes, Mind Reader, not a calendar. I'm learning that. But yeah, we had to stop halfway through because every night I need to change genuinely what it is I'm injecting myself with, so my body doesn't become.
Of course.
so the midway through is a Saturday, and we just have to say middle day, even though it's a Saturday, it needs to be taken off, and I go back to get the health checks. Night one, middle of the run, and then the last day. But 9 p.m. Cow Barn every single night. I'm delighted to say so far every night has been a complete sellout. The next few nights have sold out. This week's filling up. This Friday's I think there are 7 tickets left for Friday at this point. And then it's just gone crazy again. So people listening who have bought tickets or who have been, genuinely thank you for supporting, someone who lives in Edinburgh, a local act. And yeah, that without people in my show, I can't do it, right? I mean, at least comedy, even comedians tell me that, playing to a room of 8 people and it sounds, terrible, but amazing that they can do it, good on them. But in my show, because I use, roughly 20 or 30 people a night without people being there, I literally can't do the show. So genuinely thank you to those people. And also the last year Kills toured as well, the UK, then Australia and some of Europe, but this year, because I go straight to North America to do The Illusionists for 9 months, unfortunately I won't get to tour the show. So I feel like I've written this show for this short period. So this is your one chance at the moment to see it, and it may never happen again, or it may come back next year for a limited run. But yeah, certainly it looks like the first half of the run will be a complete sellout. Again, thank you. And the second half, there are still some tickets left, so get them quick.
That's incredible. It's just shows the power of the mind and self-confidence that you have gone out there. And
not talent, not skill, not.
These things are all tied in together. These are things that I may not be a mind reader, but I know how to bullshit.
Yeah. No comment.
It's incredible. It just blows my mind that you're taking such a risk with your health and your life for the entertainment of people at the Fringe. It's phenomenal. Ben, do you feel safe?
I feel a bit better now that you're being injected and I'm not, so that I'm not at risk.
I mean, I can rewrite it if you would like.
No. I think it's okay.
Yeah.
No.
I think we find the way it is.
We wouldn't want to see a whole audience refusing steadfastly to leave a theatre because they want you to die.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what's happening.
Whilst doing Irish ballet with a man in the Norway. Yes, of course.
Well, thanks so much, Colin.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure to talk to you. Ever since I first saw you perform, I've been amazed by everything you do.
That's very kind.
I watch you all the time to see if I can see you drop the ball, to use the juggling metaphor. I never ever do. I'm confused by everything you do, and I adore it.
Good.
I'm going to see your show tonight. I'm
Yes.
very, very excited.
Thank you, sir.
And I'll take Ben along some night as well.
Would
I'll
love
make
to
it
see
at
you
some
there,
point.
Ben.
Yep,
Yeah.
definitely.
Good. If I'm not dead by then. Yeah.
Try and stay alive until I come to see
Yeah, and then after that, who cares,
After that, do what
right?
you want.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's fine.
Quite right. Thank you.
What do you make of that, Ben?
That was incredible.
Wasn't it good?
Yeah, fascinating.
Isn't he interesting?
Yeah, very interesting.
He's so talented. Like he's another one of those shows that I've seen him every year at the Fringe since his first year, and I've known him from the cabaret scene. We've performed in a lot of the same sort of variety lineups in the past, and he's so good at what he does. I watch him and I can't tell how he's doing a lot of it, and a lot of this stuff I know. I've seen a lot of magicians. I've stood in the wings when a lot of mentalists are on stage. Sometimes you're just like, yeah, it's a trick. I can see it's a trick. With Colin Cloud, the trick is invisible. You don't know how he's doing it.
Yeah.
You would believe that the man has strange supernatural powers. It's incredible.
Yeah. What I thought was really interesting and fascinating with the conversation we had there was the insight into the development of a Fringe show.
Yes.
You know, he really went in depth about the process he went through to create that show and where it came from and how it got to where it is. And
Yep.
I think that's great for anyone
Indeed.
who's trying to put a show together to hear that, you know, how to go about doing it.
Yeah, because most jokes in cabaret is people say, well, you know, how do you write your show? And you'll be like, well, that's what the train to Edinburgh's for.
Yes, totally. But no, certainly not on the train to Edinburgh with that one.
No, not
It's,
at all.
it was fascinating.
And I do have to reiterate what Colin was saying, that if you've got the chance to get tickets to get along and see his show, absolutely see it. It's incredible. It will blow your minds, and then you'll be able to say it in a few years' time when he is a superstar. I saw him perform at the Edinburgh Fringe.
Yeah, definitely.
Amazing. Well, that's probably that for this episode then, Ben.
I'd say so, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, well, look, if you've enjoyed this episode, please share and let people know all about it. If you've got thoughts or you want to have your voice heard, please comment below. We're always reading the comments and we're always glad to hear from them, and we may even respond in kind. Please get along to the Edinburgh Festival of Fringe either this year or next year, see some shows and support arts in the UK. It needs it desperately, and it needs people like you to come and watch people like Colin Cloud do incredibly strange things to themselves and to audiences for your entertainment. Anything else to say, Ben?
No, you're off to the bar.
We're off to the bar?
Aye.
Pint?
Pint.
Pint.